My name's Tom Jones. I'm at High Plains Feed Yard in Montezuma, Kansas. Feed Yard's 50,000 head capacity. We also have a research center. We call it High Plains Education and Research Center. Housed in the research center will be a full-time geneticist and a PhD DVM veterinarian that helps us with our antimicrobial research and our feed additive research. We do have grow safe nodes that we're working with and studying our residual feed intake as well. We develop bulls and develop heifers, and of course we progeny test all different customer cattle from all over the U.S., also with the RFI nodes. We're looking at when we have cattle to sell today, we have different venues that we can market them. And we're always watching what the spreads are, whether they be the choice spread, select spread, or prime spread. We keep our eyes on that. Pounds are one of the most biggest drivers. Pounds and dressing percentage are the biggest drivers of any grid you've got out there. That's why Charolais cattle fit into the program pretty well. If you can have a high percentage of grade 1s and 2s, your cutability is going to be pretty large. The muscle structure and the red meat yields of a Charolais, that breed, is just directly related to dressing percentage, and like I said, that's a huge part of the driver on the profitability on a grid. We like the feed efficiency of these Charolais cattle as well. Going forward, if we want to talk about sustainability in the future, that's one thing we've got to start worrying about is how much feed we use to put a pound of gain on these cattle. It ties in with our part of the state where we have to grow our crops off of the Ogallala aquifer and pumping a lot of water out for it to grow this corn. Why, the less corn we use, of course, the better off we're going to be, the more sustainable we'll be, and our businesses will last. We're 85% somebody else's cattle year over year. Roughly 35% of those cattle are retained ownership from some type of cow-calf operation all over the U.S. They range in size from just 50, 75 head herds up to 3,000 head of cattle. Part of the reason that we've got such a large customer base of retained ownership is we try to help these people manage their genetics. We've been collecting data on these cattle for years and years, and of course the more data you get, the better breeding decisions you're going to be able to make. It's pretty easy to get started putting cattle on feed with us at High Plains. Just give us a phone call, and one of the first things we'll do is we'll just run a break even. We'll talk about what your cattle are, what you do know about them, and then we'll just run a simple break even. There's not always the best time to feed cattle. There's times to stay away from it, and there's times that you need to be involved in it. But it's just numbers, it's just a math problem, and that's how we start. If we look at the business today from a feed yard perspective, or a sale barn perspective, or retained ownership perspective, one of the biggest things we've got to worry about is make sure that we've got a great health program going. We need to have whole herd vaccinations going. We need to make sure that we're taking care of the nutrition of these cows prenatal, and then we need to make sure that afterwards, we're giving these calves a vaccination and 60-day weaning period. Once we do all of that alleviates most of the problems that we encounter at the feed yard level. Best way to get a hold of myself or one of my people, our geneticist or our DVMs, is just call the feed yard. Our number is 620-846-2226.